Imagine standing in front of a centuries-old windmill, its bricks crumbling, its sails rusted, and realizing that this piece of history could vanish within a decade if no one steps in. That's the reality facing Ellis Mill in Lincolnshire, a structure that's not just a relic of the past, but a symbol of what happens when communities and governments fail to prioritize preservation. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about saving a building. It's about asking a deeper question. Who gets to decide what's worth saving in our rapidly modernizing world? Let me break this down. Historic England just added Ellis Mill to their Heritage at Risk register, which is basically a red flag for cultural preservationists. But what's fascinating is how they framed the problem. They didn't just say the mill is falling apart. They highlighted specific issues like damp brickwork, peeling paint on timber parts, and machinery that hasn't functioned in decades. To me, this feels like a microcosm of larger challenges. These aren't just technical problems. They're symptoms of a systemic neglect. Why do we let structures like this decay while we spend billions on flashy new developments? It's almost like we've collectively decided that the past isn't worth the investment. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. A local community group, the Ellis Mill Rescue Group, is fighting back. They held a meeting that drew 150 people, something that should make anyone pause. This isn't just a bunch of hobbyists. It's a grassroots movement fueled by people who see the mill as part of their identity. But here's the catch. They're asking the county council to foot a £500,000 bill. And they're not just making a request, they're citing legal obligations from the 1990s. That's bold. It raises a question. Should public institutions be held accountable for promises made decades ago? Or is that just a relic of a bygone era of civic responsibility? What really grinds my gears here is the council's response. They're talking about a windmill strategy and sustainable futures while dragging their feet. It feels like bureaucratic jargon designed to avoid hard decisions. But let's be real. Sustainability isn't just about solar panels and electric cars. It's about preserving the tangible links to our history. If we let these mills rot, what's next? Do we start tearing down libraries, museums, or even entire neighborhoods because they're not economically viable? And here's a thought. What if this isn't just about Ellis Mill? What if it's a warning sign? Across the UK, historic sites are disappearing at an alarming rate. The difference here is that the community is fighting back. That's the spark of hope. But it also highlights a bigger issue. Why do we rely so heavily on grassroots movements to save our heritage when it should be a shared priority? So what's the takeaway? Ellis Mill isn't just a building. It's a conversation starter. It forces us to confront how we value our past in a future obsessed with progress. And if we don't start treating these places with the urgency they deserve, we'll wake up one day in a world where the only history we have left is in books, and even those might be gone.